Let's talk about these wet-dry cycles. He says it's like the day warms up and the day cools down at night. It cools down at night, warms up during the day. Well, what he does, you look at the experimental. Now, Dave, you got to look at the experimental to see this. His hot cycle is 130 degrees centigrade. That's 266 degrees Fahrenheit for 15 hours. To sterilize something, you heat it up to 121 degrees centigrade, 250 degrees Fahrenheit. He is at sterilization temperature. You're going to form life under these conditions? Wow, that is really a harsh place, where you get warming up in the day to 130 degrees centigrade. That would kill any life that would ever want to form, because it's sterilization temperature. But you didn't tell us that. Boy, that was hidden in the experimental. And poor Dave was the victim. He believed you. And then what is it that you got? What is it that you got? So now you dry this thing out at 130 degrees centigrade, which is blazing hot, and for an organic molecule like this, and then you'll cool this thing down. So what did you end up getting? Well, Lee, to his credit, didn't just use alanine and glycine, things that have no other functionality. He used other compounds, like here you have an extra OH here. Here you have an extra carboxylic acid on aspartic acid. Here you have an extra carboxylic acid on glutamic acid. Here you have an extra amine on lysine. So all of these are active side chains. So half of your amino acids have active side chains. Most people leave those out. They say, we're just going to do chemistry on this and show that it works. It doesn't work very well on these either. But when you have active side chains, these compete for the reaction sites. So you got to read very carefully in Lee's paper to find this. That's why I can understand why Dave never detected this. And he says, although fragments corresponding to linear peptide structures were observed, we also note that both branch structures and other forms of bonds, for example, esters, may have been formed. Indeed, given the presence of reactive side chains, this is not unlikely. Not unlikely is a weird way of saying likely. So it is likely that you got all sorts of structures that are not polypeptides at all. Once you have these side chains in here, these are branched. These have nothing to do with real life. You didn't make your polypeptides. You put in these other ones. Even your crazy cycles of 130 degrees sterilization temperature didn't even make polypeptides. As soon as you have those functional, those half of the amino acids that have these functional side chains, you don't get it. That's why you have to do protection when you do synthesis in the laboratory. Exactly what I went over in my video. Lee, if you had really watched my video, you would have learned this. Remember, you're the one who said you don't know any organic chemistry.
So I don't know any organic chemistry.
So watch my 13, 14-part video. Watch it. You'll learn some organic chemistry. I go through and I teach that organic chemistry to you. You really need to watch this. And so I sent this to a friend of mine who is a peptide chemist. This guy has been studying and making peptides for years. And I say, tell me, do I have this wrong? I mean, how can he be saying he's making peptides? Are these kind of branch structures without having the alpha amine attacking the carboxylic acid of the one functionality of the next amino acid? Could this be right? Here's what he writes. Quote, it is interesting chemistry, but not practical for anything. In most circumstances, one wants peptides to be uniformly connected from amine to C-terminal carboxylic acid, with the side chains being free, unattached. The definition of polypeptide is a bit vague, but the vast majority of people would assume that only N to C-terminal amide bonds are being formed. There are, of course, exceptions in which side chain connectivity is desirable from a synthetic perspective, and nature will make these on occasion as well, but only through non-ribosomal synthesis. However, what neither nature wants nor chemists is an uncontrolled mixture, and the methods described, as the authors acknowledge, will certainly result in complex mixtures. Outside of speculative investigations of prebiotic conditions, I doubt anyone cares. Lee, nobody cares. Nobody cares about this except YouTubers who can't read the papers and see that you've made a bunch of junk. And your little Origin of Life community says, yeah, you made a bunch of you made garbage. You made garbage. You didn't make polypeptides. You didn't. You didn't have realistic conditions. You bought all the homochiral polypeptides, amino acids to start. You didn't use isomeric mixtures of these. No, you bought all homochiral and you put them together under unrealistic conditions, 15 hours at sterilization temperatures. And then you got a bunch of junk out that nobody cares about. That's origin of life research for you. That's one of the top guys in origin of life research. You wanted this type of analysis? You got it, Lee.
This one's moving around over here. That one's almost decomposing, almost falling apart, but they're wobbling. Can you see? They're like, there's no life in them, but they are wobbling around and getting excited and searching, vibrating. That one just split into three. Oh, and that one, I mean, that was pretty exciting, actually.
If you're enjoying this series, give us a thumbs up and click the subscribe button, and that way you'll hear when we're coming out with new videos. There are no salaried employees in this organization. All the accounting, all the legal work, that's all done by friends of mine. The only thing that I have to pay for is the production work, and if you could help us out with that, I'd appreciate it. There's a link below where you can just click on that and help us in several different ways. Thank you.